Hello and welcome back to our channel, How We Move the Decimal. In today's video, I am photographing slides to sell on eBay. I am just using a tracing board that I bought on Amazon for $14. I didn't want to pay a lot of money for an expensive whiteboard. And I think some of my first slides, I actually took pictures of them on those letter boards you buy like for your house where it's all kitschy and cute and you put sayings on them. That was what I first photographed these on, or on my tablet with a light board app on it. So you don't have to get crazy expensive to list these, and I think I've gone through all of this. I like this light board the best because I can put 24 slides on it, and I know that it fits 24 slides, and I'm not taking pictures of 7 slides or 10 slides. I think my tablet, I could take pictures of 12, which was the most I had. But with this, I can do 24 slides, which is why I really like it. In today's video, I wanted to hit a little bit on cluttercore, and I think it might be pretty helpful for eBay because it's not minimalism. Minimalism was probably the death of eBay, but the best for sourcing. But cluttercore is like when you go to those museums, or we have a pizza place in our area, and they'd put everything on the walls, board games on the walls, stuffed animals, light up things. They had a shelf that ran across the entire top of the restaurant where they'd put like vintage toys and stuff up there, and it was clutter, but it was like artful clutter. And that's kind of what cluttercore is. It also reminds me of those like crazy like gumball museums or Pez museums, and there's a restaurant slash bar in the Gulf Shores that has all these Pez collectors in it. And that's kind of like cluttercore, where people are showing off their bookcases or their collections on the walls and stuff. And I think that's going to be very helpful for those of us that sell on eBay because people are looking for those vintage things. They're looking for that one item to complete their collection, which can be very great. Now, I know a lot of people had either really, really good sales or really, really bad sales over the holiday. As I'm recording this voiceover, it is the day after Christmas. Our U.S. Postal Service is closed. We are for an observance of Christmas, so we are going to mail off our items tomorrow. I will say I had my biggest sales for the past 2 weeks on Christmas Day and this morning. And they definitely weren't things like presents buying to send to people. And there was a lot of vintage, a lot of hard goods. Only one item was actual clothing. And ironically, that was like an underlayer of clothing. We just had like the Arctic blast or whatever blow through the Midwest. So maybe people are like, man, I need more warm clothes. So we had one item of clothing to sell, but the rest of it was hard goods and slides. So I think it might be like, I don't think it's cluttercore is like sweeping the nation, and that's the whole reason they bought these things. But I found it very interesting that a grand majority of my listings are clothing, but almost all of my sales, and granted, I didn't have lots of sales, but I did have some pretty high price sales this weekend. So out of the 7 items that sold, only one was clothing, and 2/3 of my store is clothing, and the rest were hard goods. I don't know if you've watched my previous videos where I had a lot of playing cards, so I had videos of me sorting the playing cards. I sold 2 decks out of the playing cards yesterday, so I'm assuming they were family gatherings and they were playing bridge because there were 2 decks of bridge cards. And then I sold coasters from the greeting card lot that I was going through that I've shown in previous videos. And then I sold one of the cast iron banks, like I said in a previous auction, one of the online auctions I went to. I bought several cast iron banks. I did not get even an eighth of what I was bidding on. I was outbid on so many of them, but I did get about 7 cast iron banks, and I've already sold 2 of them, and I did sell a cast iron bank yesterday. My husband sold some weird electronic thing that's broken for parts. I have no idea what it was. I was not involved in that, but it was not even listed 2 days before it sold. So that was a pretty decent sell for us. And so 2 playing cards, a set of coasters, cast iron bank, a pair of pants, and some weird electronic item that I have no clue what it is, all sold within 2 days. And we were pretty much crickets leading up to Christmas, which was fine because, like I've said in previous videos, the week before Christmas is very, very busy and hectic for us. Plus, we had the weird blizzard thing coming through that nobody left their houses for. So it worked out great that we didn't really sell anything. We sold 1 thing that entire week. And lucky enough that I was able to ship it out because I had to go and get a repair on an item, which I will talk about in another video. But I do think with like the sale of the cast iron bank, and we're going to see more clutter core stuff, more kitsch stuff. I love vintage, especially like I've talked about vintage sheets, vintage tablecloths, vintage pillowcases, vintage Afghans. I think the vintage Afghans might be making a comeback. People seem very interested in them. I've had more views on my vintage Afghans the past 30 days than I have in like several years. So, and I prescribe to the Jay and Ryan school of thought, if you guys remember, list it and let it ride. So the scavenger life, they would always just list it and let it ride. I prescribe to that, so I list it and let it ride. But the past 30 days now on eBay, you can go and look and see how many views an item has gotten in the past 30 days, which is great because before it would be lifelong views. That can kind of skew it because you tend to get the most views towards the beginning, and after it's been on there for several years, the views drop off. If I was a good eBayer, I would be ending and selling similar, but I am not a good eBayer. I need to go through and do that because I haven't been actively listing as much, even though we just pulled a box from our death pile and sat at the table and listed it, and we sold 1 item within 2 days. And it did lead to us having other sales. eBay is a machine. It's a monster. You feed it, you make sales. I know this. Does it lead me to listing more? No. There's the desperation looking at camps and summers and all of the expenses of children and how much my son keeps outgrowing his shoes and my daughter keeps growing. Does that make me desperate enough to list it? Not really. Am I a lazy person? Kind of. But it's like the Field of Dreams. If I build it, they will sell. If I list it, they will sell. So I know to do that. I did sell 2 lots of slides also this weekend to the same person. With that, a lot of times I get repeat buyers with my slides, and it's always nice to see when I'm going, like where they're going and what's going on with that. But I did sell 2 lots, and they were 2 random lots, which was interesting. It wasn't to like specific cities. I tend to sell like specific cities better. So if it was like Moscow 1972 or something like that, that tends to sell quicker than like 1960s people, places, things, which one of the lots was basically that. And it was one of the later lots I've listed because it was numbered in one of the later numbers. I'm getting enough now listed and numbered that I am not as organized as I would like to be. I mean, I'm not surprised I'm not organized. I'm kind of like a raccoon, but I wish I was slightly more organized with the numbers because I did have to like physically touch and pull out several slide boxes before I found the boxes I was looking for. So I think that'll be my goal this coming year, to go through the slide boxes. Thank you for watching. Please watch the slides that have been digitized, and please like and subscribe the video. Thank you.
Taking shots at the enemy, I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock. Electronic, blow the sonic roof up. I'm too honest when I take a few shots. They're too toxic, need to take the noose off. And you cannot save me, 'cause I don't need saving. It's everything I've been chasing, all here for the taking. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease. I'm sick of all the bad thoughts, people who are half-nots. You are not as tough as tracks and some music that you never guess. I don't slack, don't lose, learn your lesson yet. When I get to choose what I do, I'm like a weapon. I'm not sharp as many, but got hard, I'm ready to change. Scars to envy, to win large and plenty. I like to play fast, never change back. Calling out, I'll pay back, 'cause I'm great at that. Oh, you cannot save me, 'cause I don't need saving. It's everything I've been chasing, all here for the taking. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease. I'm sick of all the bad thoughts, people who are half-nots. You are not as tough though. Don't wanna test your